Hi there. In this class, we'll be looking at how to set up MySQL client tool, as well as set up a DB server on a serverless cloud platform provided by Aven.io. So to begin with, let's try to set up our server on Aven.io, which is a free serverless MySQL server, but for a limited CPU and memory. Okay, so here I'm going to that cloud provider. First of all, I need to log in. So as I don't have is use login with them, I'm going to sign up. I'm going to sign up with Google. This is my dummy email. Yeah, so now I think I can log in. Sign up is done. So why I like this cloud provider is because they don't ask your credit card or debit card information, and this is how it is as of now, but it might change in future. Okay, so here the basic account setup with this cloud provider. So this is my first project. I will just say project, so that I know there's a project. Yeah. And now after the account setup is done, you have created your project, Tansy Academy project. So within the project you can have multiple DB servers meant for you. So let's try to create a MySQL serverless server installation here. So I select MySQL. I want to go with free plan. Okay, only thing I want to change here is I want to change my server name, so that I know this is the server. Okay, so this is a free service. Okay, and these are the connection parameters. We can look at it when we actually connect to this server, right? I just say skip. I just say finish setup, and then I go to my project. So it says that we just finished the setting up the MySQL serverless servers for free without any credit card, debit card. So now it's building our server. So after this is done, then we'll try to connect to our server from my local PC. Remember, this is not my computer. This is a cloud provider where they will create a MySQL DB instance for us, so that we can create multiple databases within this instance. Okay, so let's wait for this to be created. So it took about like 4 minutes to launch our DB instance. See, as a fresher you can call it as DB server, MySQL DB server, but actually it is a MySQL DB instance running on serverless cloud provider. If you remember our slide from chapter 5, right? So this is the DB instance, DB server, the gray box that we just created. Okay, so now we have to create these blue boxes called databases, and within this database you can create tables. So let's see, let's move forward with our demo here. So my server is running, instance MySQL instance is running. So if you look at here, they have created only one default DB for us, but there are no databases. I can create a database, new database. Okay, I can call it as test db01. Okay, add database. Okay, it has created a test db01 for me, but the thing is I cannot create tables from here. Okay, so now coming back to this, the gray color DB instance we created, and just now I created test db1, that is the blue bar cylinder, that denotes the database. So I can create any number of databases on my instance, but so let me create one more, test db02, sorry, test db02. Okay, and now we need to see see here I am using connecting to this via internet. It's not locally, it's not a local MySQL installation on my server, on my computer. It's on the cloud. So now I'll try to connect to this instance from a local laptop. So for that you have to use a tool called MySQL workbench. So when you launch it, So you'll see something like this. So we have to create a new connection so that we get connected to our server. So here once I click this, so this is the connection window. I will say first of all let us open the connection parameters. Okay, so these are the connection parameters. So I will say connection, or I will say MySQL connection. Okay, right? And then host name, you go to overview. Let's say you are at your project, and then in the project it will list all your services. I'm clicking MySQL, and then on the overview tab you have this. So I'm copying the host and I paste it here in the host, and then I copy the port. So this is the port, and then what else? I copy the username, I paste it here. Finally I need the password, I copy the password, store. Okay, I just say okay. So we created the connection to our serverless server instance. So let us see if it opens the connection here. This is MySQL workbench is on local computer, so this is all happening at the local level. Okay, right. See, I'm connected to our new server, MySQL server. See, these are the databases that you created, but we don't have any tables in it. We will just create some dummy tables. One more thing, this workbench, right? So this particular client tool is called MySQL Workbench. If you type in download MySQL Workbench in Google, you will arrive at these search results, and I'm going to click this, dev.mysql.com downloads workbench. I click this link, and then here I'm going to select whether my computer is a Mac or is it a Windows or is it a Linux. You have to select that, and then you have to select appropriate download from here, or whatever displays for you. And once you click this, it will take you to a different window. It will ask you to log in or sign up, but here you can say no thanks, just start my downloads. So once it's downloaded, if it is a Windows, just double click, it will install, and you can open this. Okay, so let's move forward. So I have I am successfully connected to our server here. Okay, so these are the databases. I can see it from my local MySQL connection workbench tool. Now let us create. See, when you have multiple databases, make sure you double click the database that you want to work in. Okay, so now whatever command I run, it will be executed on this database. So there are no tables, so we get this error. So let me and if you remember from my previous classes, right, we have a common SQL file that I shared with you, common like initial load of MySQL file and Postgres file and MS SQL file. What these SQL files will do is, when you run these SQL files on your DB server or DB instance, it will create some tables and it will populate data for you to play with. So this is the file I was talking about. You will get it as a student in WhatsApp chat. So let's say I'm going to select this MySQL. If you look at this file, it has bunch of SQL commands that you will be learning moving forward. Okay, so let me execute this file here. So execution is still going on. Let's see how many tables it has created. Yeah, so it has created. So I'm going to refresh again. So we have a bunch of tables here. Okay, now I say select start from account order. Okay, so you have some data here. I'm going to clear this. So this is the data in your table. So now where are we, right? So this is my server on the database test db1, my database on the cloud provider. I have created how many tables? 1 2 3 4 5 6 8 tables, 8 or 9 tables, right? So what is this? Like if you go back to here, right, so this is the db instance, db server on the cloud provider. After that, I created a database test db01, and within this database I created couple of tables, right? So that's what this is. Hopefully you should be able to replicate this before we move forward in our training course, because having a proper DB setup is very important, and I am recommending you to go with this free MySQL cloud provider, because other option is you will end up, other option is this, right? So this is this option 2, serverless. Option 1 is you have to install MySQL server. See here I have installed Workbench, this is a client tool. You have to install this server. That means you need more memory, RAM, and more power on your computer to do this. But with this you are actually using the CPU and memory from this cloud provider. So that's why I recommend this. And if I go back to let me go back to chapter 2, I guess. Okay, 1 minute, or maybe uh, chapter 4. Yeah, okay. So if you remember this slide from our chapter 2 theory class, so this is what is your computer and this is what your server. So here we have just installed this DB instance on a cloud provider. This is done. And then here I am asking you to install Workbench, the client tool, and this is the connection. That's how we did this. If you remember this here, and this connection, right? So this is the connection that we created. That's what those lines, it's like you are trying to talk to your DB instance on the cloud provider using the connection, and then the connections are within this Workbench client tool. Okay, yeah, thanks a lot. Hopefully we will meet again in the next video. Thanks.